What's up, friends? Welcome back to Psychopath Exposure. I'm your host, Kita. You know, we've all been there. You meet someone and everything feels perfect, a little too perfect. But then those little red flags start popping up. We're talking about narcissistic red flags. And if you were like me when you first got into your narcissistic entanglement, you probably brushed them off thinking, nah, I'm a little paranoid. I don't want to be that guy. You know, nobody's perfect. You kind of start diminishing what you blatantly saw in front of your eyes. But spoiler alert, ignoring those red flags cost me my peace, my confidence, my sanity, and a few years of my life, let me be honest with you. But today I'm going to share the 6 red flags that I wish I would have not ignored, that I wish I would have never dismissed from my psychopath narcissist ex, so that you don't make the same mistake moving forward in your life. You know, some of you are in a relationship right now with a psychopath or with a narcissist, and hopefully by the end of this video, you've made up your mind. You've made up your mind to end that relationship, because it's never going to get better, guys. All right? It's never going to get better. And for those that have already come out of a toxic relationship with a narcissist and you're out there, you're trying to date, you're trying to meet new people, it's important that you guys recognize these red flags. There are numerous red flags when dealing with an actual full-blown narcissist. I'm just going to talk about the 6 main ones that come to mind for me, okay? And I'm sure you're going to relate with a lot of them, if not all of them. So let's just get right down to the first red flag I wish I wouldn't have ignored was the love bombing, okay? Now, I didn't know what love bombing was at the time. I had never heard of such a term. I know that in society now, that narcissists and just the term narcissistic has become everyday common lingo. I'm sure you guys have heard about being love bombed. And it's when the narcissist just completely showers you with attention and with gifts, and they just blow up your ego, you know. But that's red flag number 1, because it's unnatural to be so overly invested in someone that you just met. From day 1, my narcissist ex was showering me with attention, with compliments like I've never received in my life, and lots of promises of forever, we're going to do this for the rest of our life, you know? And I bought into all that nonsense. It felt like a dream come true. I felt like I had manifested the girl of my dreams. But here's the catch. Love bombing isn't love. Let me repeat that. Love bombing isn't love. It's a manipulation tactic used by psychopaths and by narcissists and by toxic people. Okay? They're hooking you with intensity, right? With this deep intensity, you overlook the things that just don't add up. You get so caught up in it. It feels so good. And you dismiss reality. You know, if someone comes on too strong right away, don't ignore it like I did. I remember my mentor reminding me that when you meet someone, you know, you kind of like want to be baby stepping. You don't want to push the person away. You don't want to come off creepy. You kind of want to make sure you put your right foot, you know, the right foot forward, a good impression, not reveal too much, not withhold too much either. You don't want to sound weird, you know, and it's a little give and take, and you start getting to know the person. But with a narcissist, you feel like you've known them all your life. I remember telling her within 3 weeks, I was like, I feel like I've known you all my life. Verbatim, I still remember that night. And, you know, the look that she gave me, now it makes sense. The look that she gave me must have been like, I got him. I got him right where I wanted to, you know. So don't ignore that, guys. It's not romantic. A love bombing is not romantic. It's a red flag. Okay? Now, the second red flag I wish I wouldn't have ignored when dating my psychopath ex was the fact that all their friends were from the opposite sex. Okay? Can you guys relate with that? If you can, because this goes both genders. If you're dating a chick, she only has guy friends. And if you were dating a man, it's funny. It seems that all his friends are girls. That's a little weird, don't you think? But it's true. It's red flag number 2 for me. Their only friends are just from the opposite sex, which makes no sense because I think we relate more with our own sex, right? Like we relate more like with the boys, or you girls relate more with the girls. And yeah, it's cool to have a guy friend. It's cool to have a girl. It's normal. But if you're a guy, you got your boys that you talk to, that you talked about these intimate things with, right? And you ladies share with other ladies. I found it to be a red flag, but I ignored it. My narcissist ex claimed that they just got along better with the opposite sex, and that she didn't have anyone. She didn't have any girlfriends. Now, at first I thought, okay, no big deal. Maybe that's just her personality. But as time went on, I realized these so-called friendships were just opportunities to seek attention and validation, because all these guys were trying to get with her. All these guys were blowing up her phone. And, narcissists thrive on attention and admiration, guys. Having friendships like these, it feeds the narcissist's ego while keeping you on the edge. I was certainly on the edge. I mean, damn, every time her phone rang, a notification, a text, I already knew that wasn't one of her girlfriends. Right away. It wouldn't even cross my mind as one of her girlfriends because she doesn't have any girlfriends. So I knew it was a dude. Every single time. All day long. Now, if this sounds familiar to you guys, again, don't ignore it. Don't dismiss it. It's a warning sign, guys. It's a warning sign that their priorities might not be directly aligned with yours. Number 3 on the list of red flags I wish I wouldn't have ignored or dismissed when dating my psychopath and narcissist ex of long ago. And well, this one's going to be the more obvious as you get to understand NPD and narcissist personality disorder, and it was simply the lack of empathy. Anytime I opened up about my feelings, my narcissist ex would either dismiss them or make it about themselves. How many of you guys here have been trying to talk to your narcissist partner about your problems or about what you're feeling or how you feel you don't feel understood, or you feel a little betrayed, or you feel like you're not being listened to, and suddenly that conversation turns into them. Even if you're sharing good news about something you've worked really hard to accomplish, and you kind of want the support of your loving partner, or maybe your narcissist in your life is your mom, and you want that validation and support from your mom, and you just don't get it. They start talking about their accomplishments that day. Or if you're talking about your problems and the challenges that you're facing, they start talking about their problems and the challenges that they are facing, right? Diminishing yours. So, at first I thought she just didn't know how to express herself, right? Again, giving the benefit of the doubt to the narcissist. But the truth is, narcissists and psychopaths lack empathy. Okay? If they don't care about your feelings, they're not going to care about your well-being. So don't make any excuses for their indifference, guys. Stop defending the narcissist. At this day and age, we have so many videos, so many books on this topic. I'm sure by the time you landed on this video, you you've been versed a little bit about narcissist personality disorder, and you've read that they don't have empathy. And I'm sure you've experienced many times in your relationship, you didn't feel that they were reciprocating the empathy that any other human being would offer you. Even a stranger down the street would offer you the same kind and courteous level of empathy. And yet, the narcissist can't even give you 10% of that, not even 1% of that in more extreme cases. So it's a very real thing. The minute you notice that someone just lacks empathy, there's something in there that there's something wrong there, right? There's something wrong. And if you're experiencing that at the beginning of the relationship, can you imagine as you start growing older with this person, if you even make it that long, because a relationship with a narcissist tends to self-sabotage early on. But if you do make it, if you're one of those rare cases where you've stayed married to the narcissist and you've put up with their stuff for years and years and years on end, sure by now, they could care less what happens to you. They don't listen to you. They don't show any type of empathy to anything. You can fall down and break your leg even, and they're not going to bat an eye. They're going to somehow blame you, tell you it's your fault. Oh, well, you shouldn't have been walking. Whatever. Anyway, the fourth red flag that I wish I wouldn't have dismissed when I was dating my narcissist ex was the whole victim mentality, the whole, not mentality, the victim narrative that she carried. My narcissist ex always had a sob story, especially from the beginning. She was always talking about her ex and some of her friends who had, quote unquote, betrayed them. Now, this was since the beginning. Since the beginning, she was talking about two, not one, two exes who didn't even live in the same country. They didn't even live here. They lived in some other, across the freaking planet, right? And she was talking about those two guys nonstop. I remember I took her to the beach like within 2 weeks that we started dating, and we must have spoken for over an hour about her ex and how she turned it into an open relationship towards the end to try and make it work. An open relationship, Like by the time you get to an open relationship, like that relationship is done, And it's funny how she tried to do the same thing with me. She pulled the whole polyamory card, open relationship type of thing towards the end. And it didn't even hit me that she had already told me that story about her toxic ex at the beginning. But, at the beginning, when she first told me that, I felt sorry for her and I wanted to help. But here's the thing. Even if you want to help, narcissists are going to use this tactic to gain your sympathy. It's going to justify their bad behavior because now you're on their side, right? And you feel sorry for them and you want to be supportive. But if someone's life is filled with constant drama and chaos, just don't get sucked into the whole pity party, guys. It's not your job. It's not your job to fix them. You can't fix them, right? You can't control them. You didn't cause their disorder. They were disordered before they met you. You didn't cause that. It's not your fault, right? It's not your fault, but remember, you cannot fix a narcissist. Therapy doesn't fix a narcissist. So what makes you think you're going to fix the narcissist? It's just not going to happen. It's just another level of delusion. Some of the dumb things that we do when we're dating narcissists, right? We think that we're going to save them somehow. We're going to fix this and the relationship is going to blossom, but it just doesn't work that way. So moving right along to number 5, fifth red flag was gaslighting. Now, again, I didn't know what gaslighting was when I dated this person. For me, this was a very long time ago. This feels like another lifetime ago already. For some of you, this is the first time that you've dealt with someone like this. This is the first time that you've been introduced to gaslighting. But, my narcissist ex made me doubt my reality time and time again. They would say things like, oh, you're just overreacting. You're so dramatic. That never happened. That's not the way it went. That's not what I said, you know. But that was BS, because deep down I knew exactly the way things happened. I have a photographic memory. I remember excruciating details. And I knew that what she was saying didn't make any sense. And yet she would say it in a way that would somehow put fear into my psyche. Not a fear of her, because, you know, I'm not scared of a girl, but the fear of she was going to pick a fight, that somehow we were going to fight, that the relationship was going to end, that she was going to leave me, something like that. When I had never in my life ever felt those types of feelings, I had never experienced that type of dread ever in my life. So how is this happening? It's because of the gaslighting. Okay, because of gaslighting. Gaslighting makes you question your instincts, your gut instincts, right? And it keeps you under the control of the narcissist. Okay, you question your reality. You're confused. You don't believe your own thoughts anymore, your own intuitions anymore. So you turn to the narcissist for direction and guidance, right? Doesn't that sound crazy? You turn to the very same person that's confusing you to show you the way out of the labyrinth that they've tossed you into. So if you feel like you're losing trust in yourself, okay, major red flag. You got to step back and ask yourself, why can't I trust my own instincts? Why can't I make my own decisions based on what's right in front of me and based on what I know, what I'm seeing with my own two eyes? Why do I feel like I'm going to make the wrong decision, or if what I'm saying is not real and it's not making sense? And why am I going to this person who's pretty much brainwashing me to believe something that's not even real? Why am I going to this person for clarity and guidance? Like that's crazy thinking, guys. If that's happening to you, you got to stop doing that right now. You got to stop doing that right now. But yeah, that's how the narcissists get away with stuff. Gaslighting is like one of the oldest tricks in the narcissist playbook. One of the oldest tricks. It's tough, I tell you, but hey, there's one more red flag, and this one's big. Okay, this is probably one of the most traumatizing red flags that you'll experience with a psychopath narcissist, and that's when the mask slips. What do I mean by that? Well, you know, narcissists wear a mask, right? They hide who they truly are. They try to fit in. They mirror your behaviors. They mirror your interests and your hobbies. They try to, like a chameleon, right? They shapeshift, and they try to make themselves look like if they're your twin flame, your soulmate. But when that mask slips and you see them for who they really are, ooh, that is some traumatizing stuff right there, let me tell you. You know, narcissists, they're great at putting on a show, at putting on a facade, but eventually their true colors, they come out, guys. You will see them for who they really are at some point or another, mark my words. And it's usually in the form of some explosive anger or cold indifference. I experienced both. The first was the explosive anger. The first time that tantrum, oh my God, I'll tell you briefly, it was the first time that I introduced her to my parents, and she came into the car, we were in the back seat, and she was just fighting with her mom. And she blew up on her mom as if she was yelling at someone that had just, I don't know, robbed her or smashed her, you know, smashed her face. It's something. It was like Satan in the back seat, and it was just this rage came out of nowhere. And I was looking at my parents I could see their faces, and they were like, what? They're in their own car, and they're afraid to say a word. And I was just watching her. I was like, are you crazy? Like, my parents are right here, and you're disrespecting your own mother like that? Oh man, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget. I had not seen that. We had been dating for like a couple of months. I had not seen anything even remotely close to that. She was like such a tame, right? Submissive girl. And that rage came out of nowhere. It's like she had so much hatred towards her own mother, it was scary. Now, I also experienced the cold indifference towards the end of that entanglement. During the discard phase, there was just blatant, cold, didn't care what I said, didn't care about my feelings, didn't care about my concerns. It was like if I didn't even exist. Luckily for me, that was just a few weeks, right? Because I didn't put up with it for that long. You know, I wish I would have gotten out earlier, but it wasn't for that long. By the time it got there, that's it. By the time it got there, like I knew that was the end, and it ended. Let me tell you, it ended. But you know, going back to the red flag itself, it's like I remember dismissing it at the beginning because, like we all do, we see it and we're like, okay, well, you know, maybe she's just having a bad day. We're probably never gonna see that again, but I don't know. It was always on the back of my mind. I was like, I hope I don't. Is she ever gonna explode like that again? And boy, did she. I remember the second time it happened and the third time it happened. I was like, oh my God. This is just gonna start happening at random. And that's how you start walking on eggshells, because now you're afraid of seeing that again. It's like they took the mask off or it just slipped out. You saw the demon that was inside. They quickly adjusted the mask and you're like, you know, you can't unsee what you already saw. But maybe, just maybe, if the demon doesn't come out for a few weeks, you'll forget. I don't think we ever forget, guys. We know what we saw. And when we see it again, and again and again and again, eventually the mask just comes off completely. And at that point, they wear the mask only for when they go out in public, when they're around, when they're socializing with the few friends that they have, right? When they go out, maybe with coworkers, that's when you see them put the mask back on, and then you're like, wow, you are so fake. Look at you. You can't even treat me that nice anymore. And I'm the guy that provides for you. I'm the one that takes care of you. What the? That's what it is. That is the most traumatizing red flag, when the mask slips, when the narcissist mask slips. So I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. Looking back, you know, I wish I would have trusted my instincts and paid attention to those red flags if I knew that they were actually red flags, you know. But you live and you learn, right? If any of these resonate with you guys, don't ignore them like I did. Believe me, you'll regret it later. You know, red flags simply don't get away. They just become bloodier. Okay, they become bloodier and brighter. So share in the comments if you've experienced any of these red flags, and let's break this cycle together. I know a lot of you come here for support, to watch these channels, to read the comments, to see if other people are going through similar things. And yeah, we all did. And some of us are still going through that nightmare. So we help each other. We call each other, call out the situations. You can tell sometimes by the replies in the comments who's still in the fog, who's still in denial, who's afraid, and who's actually just really, they just had it and they're done. And they just need like a little bit of push and support to finally cut ties with their narcissist abusers. So, you know, drop a comment, share if you guys have experienced any of these red flags, or if you've experienced all of them. As a matter of fact, if there's some that I missed that have traumatized you guys even more than the ones that I listed, please let me know below so I can read them and I can make a video specifically on those red flags, because some of these red flags deserve a video on their own because they are that complicated, right? And they do a lot of damage to your psyche, and they rewire your brain and your nervous system. And once that happens, it's really difficult to break free. So Now, don't forget to like the video if you got some value, subscribe, and click that little bell icon so that you can get notified when I drop a video like this. And if you'd like to work directly with me, I have a private one-on-one coaching program that I offer to the survivors of narcissistic abuse here in the community. I have a link below if you'd like more information on that. I've been working with hundreds of survivors for years now, helping you guys break free and escape from the toxic relationship that you've been locked into for all this time. And be happy to consult with you and be that guy that has your back, that's on your, that's in your corner, so we can do this together. All right. Remember, guys, you deserve better, but it starts with recognizing the signs. Okay. You have to recognize these red flags. You have to recognize, the writing is on the wall. You have to be able to acknowledge that. Right. And, courage comes from doing the thing that scares you. Okay. If you're not afraid, that doesn't really make you a courageous person. You're afraid of something, you got to do it, and that's where courage is built. That's what makes someone brave, is that they were scared of something, but they still went ahead and they did it, and they faced their fears, right? So some of these things are scary, but you just have to do what you got to do, right? And the fear of death, or the death of fear, shall I say, is certain. All right. So thanks for watching to the end, guys. My name is Kita. This is Psychopath Exposure, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.